And now, the main news on Radio Singapore, brought to you by Moose Milling and Sanya Catholic University.
Radio Changala restoring everything in Christ with love and truth. Good afternoon with the main news. I'm Kennedy Mbewe Jr. The headlines. Some stakeholders welcome the firing of Chitalu Chilufya. Church is advised to take COVID-19 measures seriously. Traders in Kwacha Agro Empowerment Fund. The details. Some traders have welcomed the firing of Health Minister Dr. Chitalu Chilufya as President Edgar Lungu receives praise for the decision taken. President Lungu yesterday fired Dr. Chilufya with immediate effect, replacing him with Water Development Minister Dr. Jonas Chanda. Dr. Chilufya has been under heavy criticism from the public following Honeybee's appearance before the Parliamentary Committee, where a financial scandal involving the supply of $17 million worth of medicine was unearthed by the Auditor General's Office and the Parliamentary Accounts Committee. Gears Initiative Zambia says Dr. Chilufya was supposed to resign on moral grounds before being fired. Gears Executive Director McDonald Jupenzi has also added that the two remaining permanent secretaries at the Ministry of Health should also be fired in order to clean up the system. Speaking in a telephone interview with Radio Chinga News this morning, Mr. Jupenzi has also demanded for thorough investigations to be conducted.
This one, that characterized operation at the Ministry of Health. So, the issue, they have that analysis of what is being used and the removal of Chitalu should provide the avenue for investigation. The federal investigation what the
Meanwhile, FDD Chama North constituency aspiring candidate Yotam Mtachalo says the action will send a strong message so that public funds are secured and accounted for at all times. Mr. Mtachalo has since advised the new Minister of Health, Dr. Jonas Chanda, to put in place strict financial controls at the ministry.
To put in place strict financial controls at the Ministry of Health. Because the ministry is not just a sensitive one, but also receives a lot of donor funding, so that these resources are managed prudently and accounted for. That's the only way the ministry can restore public and donor confidence in our health system.
UPND leader Hagainde Ichilama is demanding for justice over the Ministry of Health and Honeybee saga.
Victims of the Ministry of Health and Honeybee crimes committed against humanity. We fully understand the public anger in reaction to the stage of corruption coming from the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health awarded Honeybee the contract to supply drugs, surgical gloves, and other life-saving items, and also went ahead to authorize usage of these, despite knowing too well that these medicines, this equipment, failed the quality control tests. This is unacceptable. We also are cognizant that just like many other injustices that our people have been subjected to, nothing will be done to the non-perpetrators.
The PF on the Copper Belt has congratulated Dr. Jonas Chanda, who is also the PF Copper Belt Provincial Vice Chairperson, for his new appointment as Minister of Health. The party has also congratulated Raphael Nakachinda for his appointment as Minister of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection. This is according to a media statement issued by PF Copper Belt Information and Publicity Secretary Jack Mwema. Kitwe City Council Director of Public Health Rodney Banda has advised churches to take COVID-19 measures seriously as they meet for worship. And Mr. Banda has also advised those intending to hold social gatherings such as weddings to apply for permits so that guidance can be provided. Speaking on Open Talk program last Friday, Mr. Banda further appealed to the general public in the district to be responsible by adhering to the COVID-19 measures.
The people are not adhering. Maybe now, if the institutions are going to resolve to say that if people are not adhering to these measures, they will may resort to we apprehend, we charge, and then we take to court. Make sure that people answer for that. The rule is if you're in a public place which other people have access to, you must always have a mask on so to protect yourself and also the commitment that would come from the local authorities that we'll continue doing our job, engaging various stakeholders in the dissemination of these guidelines. And then when the community is doing the right thing, we'll still commend them for doing the right thing.
And the Association of Vendors and Marketeers Association of AVEMA in Kitwe is advising those in the informal sector to adhere to COVID-19 guidelines as they conduct their business. Association Kitwe District Chairperson Aston Sakala said the vendors and other traders must take the second wave of the pandemic seriously as cases in the country continue to rise. Mr. Sakala has also encouraged the AVEMA leaders in Kitwe to continue raising awareness on COVID-19.
In Kitwe District to start putting on the face mask and to make sure that they wash their hands with soap and they observe social distance whenever they are trading in the markets. This time around, COVID-19 is real. We know that there were a lot of speculations last time that COVID-19 is not real, but you can see now for yourself. Let's make sure that we observe the guidelines that were put by the Minister of Health.
In a related development, traders at Buntungwa Market in Chirabumbwe have been sharing ways of curtailing the spread of new COVID-19 cases amid the continued increase in cases being recorded in the country. The traders stress that markets in the district should be equipped with hand-washing buckets and wearing of face masks should be enhanced among marketeers and consumers.
Nokukingira natukukingira twekingirira bonse abalengira mu maketi bafiire basamba ayingira pakwingira mu maketi basamba ku minwe nga basamba ku minwe pakana n'ishina abayikingirira na ku toilet kwera kuli fya kwa busaka bwino
ulwele bweno ko bwaba lero buli deadly ngeshwa lero ndona ikirevu agachakutira lekeni tumanya akapibonse pakutira iki kintu twingaba kukikimisha ne sanitizer pero mwaikata hulu pia pisheni kwa sanitizer kama inapamnyona pele na pakanwa simbeni po utuma mask pantu ubumita kwa spare part yawe ngatwalo alani nchifwe twayibwesha panuma kabine chalo cheso nishabwelera panuma ndeko nkomesya ngentungurushinkalamba muchirira bombwe ukuti mweshe ukubombesha na makasana bon.
Traders at Kitwe's Chipata compound market have been sharing with Radio Chingla News how the Empowerment Revolving Fund has boosted their business. In an interview with Radio Chingla News from the market today, the traders hailed Kwacha Member of Parliament Joe Malanji for the Empowerment Initiative. And at Epuskilo Market, the traders said they are now able to fend for their families as the revolving fund is made available to every trader. In separate interviews with Radio Chingri News, others want the period of paying back the loan to be extended.
Businesses will advantage. Tulipitira mwana abana ku masikulu. Nane wona alikwata n'obukule. Emo ishitana okulumbirirwa obukule bwantu ku advantage. Polishesine again balakulunzira poloni bakupira. So tabakushupa acha abalanga.
Obwana nashisobola kugisha twatambe okufuka n'amusajja mbere. Abantu balikugana bali kusoma kofini na triksaga. Nyokuba mananje lweba kuselisha ubutiya. Wene mpya chira kuomba.
Ndafika tabula ndile fike pasani for today yapoka yafika tunafanya mapoka shilenda pevuni.
Kwene simpya.
National Traders and Marketeers Association of Zambia Natma's Ipuskilo branch chairperson Kennedy Kalonga said the 100,000 empowerment fund given to the traders about 4 years ago has grown to over 1 million kwacha. And Mr. Kalonga has advised marketeers to ensure that they follow the health guidelines in preventing the spread of COVID-19. He, however, bemoaned that people going to purchase different merchandise at Ipuskilo market are not masking up.
Ukumwana nokushitako empower tuma market tumo kubomfya iyi mpya wa minister Honorable Joseph Malanji batupere ero bali noshita mukwai nululu pya kwena nalusurusurira hapa tali mukwai twalibomfeshe ku expense tulimu 1 million mukwai tunakuchirisha priority number 1 mukati akakugomba kwesuka kumuntu bati bana market bayisunga efe mumwene n'ekyama n'infwala nabambi bana market mukati mubali abayimole problem tukwete bene kubandoleza mukutandalira abalesa mukushita bene kirichakosa.
Pope Francis says in the face of political discord and self-interest, the faithful have an obligation to promote unity, peace, and the common good in society and in the Catholic Church. Speaking in an interview that aired on Italian news program, Pope Francis says at this moment, a politician, even a manager, a bishop, a priest who does not have the ability to say we is not up to par. He stated that if politicians emphasize more self-interest than the common interest, they ruin things, adding that the unity of the country, of the church, and of society must be emphasized. According to the Catholic News Agency, the papal interview took place following the storming of the U.S. Capitol building on January 6 by pro-Donald Trump protesters. In sports, Kafue Celtics coach Robert Tembo has complained about poor officiating of matches in the Fast Eden National League. Speaking in an interview with Radio Chinglo Sports after losing to Nchanga Rangers by 2-1, Tembo wants to see improvement by some match officials.
Around the goal. That has been the culture here at Nchanga Rangers. We have been always crying of referees. Now it's good that this game was on television. I think most of the soccer fans and whoever who is a soccer lover, they watch it. We have never complained of.
Meanwhile, Nchanga Rangers coach Bruce Mwape says his team did not play well in the second half. He said some players started panicking, which resulted in conceding a goal.
The first half of the season we are in the top 4, so we want to maintain right. The first half, I think we played a more constructive game than we played towards the end of the first half. But anyway, the blame should only be on the players themselves, because it's like, okay, they lost confidence, and then started panicking, and okay, positioning was.
This news broadcast comes to you in the community service of Radio Chengelo with compliments of Moose Milling and the Zambia Catholic University. International news as monitored from the BBC. An Israeli businessman is on trials in Geneva today on charges of corruption and forgery relating to mining contract in West Africa. Ben Stiemez, a billionaire and former diamond magnate, is accused of paying of millions of dollars in bribes to public officials in Guinea for the 5-year period to get the rights to the lucrative oil deposits. Here's the BBC with more news from around the world.
Indonesia is attempting to retrieve the black box flight recorders from the Boeing 737 airliner that crashed into the sea on Saturday. 62 people were on board. Our correspondent in Jakarta, Kalistasi Udaya, says search teams hope to bring the recorders to the surface soon.
According to the officials, yesterday they were trying to do it as soon as possible, and they were suspecting it to be 23 meters underwater surface. So we're still waiting whether they can retrieve it today or maybe in the next day.
Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives have stepped up pressure to strip Donald Trump of power over his role in the violent storming of Congress. They want him forcibly removed from office this week, or to start the process of impeachment. Senior Democrats say that if there were to be an impeachment trial, it would be delayed for up to 100 days to allow Joe Biden time to focus on tackling the coronavirus and boosting the economy. James Clyburn is a Democratic congressman.
Let's give President-elect Biden the 100 days he needs to get his agenda off and running, and maybe we'll send the articles sometime after that.
The Professional Golfers Association of America has cut its ties with President Trump, voting to take the PGA Championship event away from his New Jersey course next year. Alex Maselli, a golf journalist in the US, says it's a huge blow to Mr. Trump, who's an avid golfer.
Everything revolves around him. So if they would have had the event in 2022 at Bedminster, this course, he would have been a big part of that. And now they knew that going in when they signed the deal back, like 5 or 6 years ago. But they could never have anticipated what they see now. And so Donald Trump.
On that note, we end the main news on Radio Chengelo this afternoon, Monday, 11th January 2021. Remember, COVID-19 is still real. Therefore, wear a mask when in public, avoid large groups, and maintain social distance. Avoid unnecessary movements and wash your hands frequently for at least 20 seconds. For these and more stories, feel free to visit our Facebook page. And of course, you can log on to Facebook and like the Radio Chengelo page and link to Radio Chengelo radio1.345.com. You can read more stories. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Kennedy Mbewe Jr. We have Ilya Shimchwemba coming away at 16 hours. Thank you so very much for listening. Have yourself a lovely Monday afternoon.